Guys, welcome back to Biscuits Total War. We have got another legendary online commentary for Rome Total War. And if you looked at the thumbnail, if you read the description, then you'll be thinking this is a siege battle. And if you're thinking that, you're very much correct, because this is very much a siege battle. Now, siege battles are a bit crazy, they're a bit nuts. I haven't done one of these battles in years. I don't often play siege battles, and there's a very good reason why I don't often play siege battles, and it's probably going to be quite inevitable when you're watching this replay for the reasons why I don't play siege battles. Now, for some reason even, when you play a siege battle, it seems to attract a certain type of player to Rome Total War. And that tends to be the player that doesn't like to stick by the rules when it comes to CWB or whatnot. There's always something lost in translation when you're trying to explain what CWB means. Anyway, this battle is no exception to the rule. There's going to be several people, or a couple of people, who are going to break the CWB rules. And in the day, I don't really give a damn. I'm not out here to police the CWB rules. I'm not out here to police Rome Total War. I'm just here to have a good time. Anyway, so we're doing a siege battle, and what I'd like to mention is that often when you play siege battles, people do tend to break the rules. Anyway, with a siege battle, also when it comes to tactics, tips and builds, it is often really random. What do I mean by that? Well, if you've been watching my videos already on YouTube, you'll see that there's quite a few tactics people use, and you can almost play battles by the textbook, in that you should know what factions counter what factions, you know what moves counter what moves, what to do in eventualities and what certain situations. When it comes to siege battles, I've got no idea what half the people are thinking. I've got no idea what they've been drinking or what they've been smoking to get to that kind of conclusion or the thought process that they put into play when it comes to doing these siege battles, because sometimes the siege battles, the tactics, the builds are freaking bonkers. And again, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to this replay. There's going to be some random tactics, there's going to be some random tactics, builds and whatnot. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and talk about what's going on in the nicest possible way. I'm not here to try and take the piss out the other players or try and undermine them. I'm just trying to talk to you exactly what's going on, and maybe explain my thought process about it, and maybe try and understand why they're actually doing it. But please don't think I'm trying to undermine anybody here. Everybody's entitled to their own tactics. I'm sure everybody's got their own logic behind what they're doing. But sometimes when I watch the replay back, I'm thinking, what the heck was that person doing? What were they drinking? What were they smoking? Because that makes absolutely no sense at all. Pretty much like this map. This map is supposed to be London. Now, I'm pretty sure London never actually ever looked like this. And also, one thing to notice about this map, when I was actually hosting this and actually sitting here waiting for the other guys to start, as you do in a siege battle, you actually have a look at the settlement, and you start looking at the settlement, and you start looking at the actual houses. One thing I noticed, to my absolute amazement, that nearly half of these settlements are actually hemmed in. It's almost like a leper colony. There is no gates on these walls, on these fences. So you could have bought this nice little semi-detached thatched bungalow in a lovely part of the neighbourhood of London. Excellent views into the countryside. No one overlooking you, but there is no gates to actually leave your premises. In other words, you're stuck in here behind this fence. So potentially this is where the lepers might have lived, or potentially the architect who designed this maybe needs to be executed on this little platform here, or thirdly maybe CA just basically balls it up when it came to making this little town. But anyway, that adds to the whole kind of joy to Rome Total War, when things don't make sense, when you do see these little stupid glitches. It makes the game a bit of fun at the end of the day. And that's why I love Rome Total War so much, because sometimes it makes absolutely no sense. Anyway, what I'm going to do, let's just triple speed this for a few moments. Actually, no, let's put it onto normal speed. Well, I just quickly introduce the armies. Now, we've got this guy called the AlmightSpartan. He's playing as the Gauls. He's brought a 9 chosen swordsmen. So again, he's broken CWB rules. 3 cav units and a bunch of archers, some of which are hidden away. So he's brought the Gauls, which is an interesting faction to bring. We've also got myself playing as the Greeks. I've gone for 6 Spartans, 2 armoured hoplites, 6 archers and 4 peasants to push the rams. And let's have a look. We're also playing alongside a clan member from the OTD clan called Princess Luna. And Princess Luna, he or she has brought 5 Spartans, 4 armoured hoplites and 3 archers. So again, very similar build to what I've gone for. When you're attacking in a siege battle, there's no point bringing cav. You may as well just bring a load of infantry units. So if you're going to bring infantry, what's better than bringing good old Spartans? Spartans can munch their way through urbans. So let's have a look at the enemy. Now, when it comes to bringing random builds, when bringing, your builds, bits and pieces like that, I did see that this Carthaginian player brought Carthage, obviously, and I was thinking, oh, this guy's going to be pretty smart because Carthage is great for countering the Greeks. But this guy is very much gone for a nice little mixture, to say the least, when it comes to his build. He has gone for 3 is the magic number, and what I mean by 3 is the magic number build, he has gone for 3 Sacred Bands Cav, 1, 2, 3. He has gone for 3 Sacred Band Infantry, 1, 2, 3. 3 Poani Infantry, 1, 2, 3. 3 Libyan Spearmen, 3 Iberian Infantry, which are situated over here. And as you can probably guess, he's also gone for 3 Slingers, but not 3 Spanish mercenaries, because you can only field 20 units, and therefore he's gone for 2 Spanish mercenaries. So really, really random builds there. Minimal upgrades, if any. All of his upgrades are on his general. Now, talking of random builds, talking about random armies, we've also got this SPQR player here, and he's gone for 1 urban here, another urban here, which makes sense. But if we have a little glance over here, he's gone for another urban, a Praetorian cohort, and a legionary thrust cohort. One thing he has decided to do is to open up the gate to let the Greek player come in, which is a bit stupid, but we can forgive him for that, because what he's also done is brought out his cav, and his cav consists of 3 Praetorian cav or 1 equite, and he's doing a really nice move. He's doing a move that I'd actually like to do. He's charging out his cav units here, and he's actually trying to counter the Greek player, trying to get in a few little kills. So really ballsy move there, really nice. But at the end of the day, that's where it ends, because the German player's also seen this, and he thought, you know what, I like his style, I like his movements, I'm going to try and copy that. But what he's doing now, he's actually going to charge nearly all of his infantry outside the settlement for some bizarre reason. That reason has not become apparent to me yet, and that is considering I've already played this battle obviously before, and I've actually already watched this replay before. So logic has gone out the window. I'm not quite understanding that tactic, but at the end of the day, it's all about having a bit of fun there. I'm sure there was logic behind that, but I do wish the German player all the best. But anyway, let's go and have a look at the rest of this SPQR unit. We've seen Urbans, we've seen Praetorian Cav, we've seen Equites. Now what you're about to see are 2 units which you would normally never ever see in CWB, and that is an Onager and a Ballista. Why is that? Because these are artillery, and artillery are banned from CWB. But it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, an Onager is an Onager. Onagers are kind of funny. I've seen them many times before. But one thing I haven't actually seen in Rome Total War for several years, and that is a Ballista. Why is that? Because ballistas suck. There's no point bringing a ballista when it comes to Rome Total War. If you're going to bring a artillery unit, bring an Onager. If you're going to bring an artillery unit to break CWB rules, there's absolutely no point to bringing this unit, because a ballista is like a chocolate kettle or a solar panel torch. You know, it's not going to give you any benefit at the end of the day. There's no point bringing it. The only thing that it's going to do is going to use up your money, and that money could have been used elsewhere. Talking about using money elsewhere, he's gone for a couple of, get my words out correctly, a couple of Triarii, a couple of Hastati, Principe, and a unit in Testudo. And this unit is nice and safe from the relentless archer fire that is raining upon this unit, as you can see. So yeah, they're just going to sit in Testudo for the time being. Anyway, let's get back to over here. So what has happened is, the Greeks have now managed to come through the gateway. They've now taken this gateway, The SPQR outside of the gate, the Germans are outside of the gate, but the Greeks now hold this side. So the attacker has now become the defender, and the defender has now become the attacker, because the defender, I'm getting confused even thinking about this now, has managed to get his infantry units, his army, outside the gate, which can be an easy mistake to make, but it's rare to see that, but a bit random. Anyway, let's go and have a look to see what's going on. Now, we like random tactics, we like to try and make our life a bit difficult. What has happened here is that the Gauls have knocked in 3 holes here. What was going on here is that the Carthaginians were holding this line here with some infantry. They weren't holding any infantry units here guarding this gateway, but they were holding units here. So we've got 3 entrances, A, B and C. A and C are guarded by pike units. So which gateway would you go through? You would go through the centre one, wouldn't you? But unfortunately the Gaul player went through this hole and he went through this hole. And these are the holes which were being guarded by the Carthaginians. So unfortunately the Gauls did actually get quite a few casualties. But at the end of the day, the Gauls have managed to push through and are on their way up this hill. So again, the Gauls have got another choice to make. They can either run up this way here, try and push their way up this hill and go through these pikes, or option B, they could potentially go around them like so. So, you know, bit of a crowd participation at this stage. What would you think? Do you reckon you go A, up the hill and attack those pike units, or do you just go around the house? What would you do if you were in the Gaul's shoe? Let's have a look. Well, the cav is going around the side, so sneaky little move there. As you can see, they're thinking, you know what, cav versus pikes, not always a good mix. Let's go around the side here, but let's go this way. But the infantry are thinking, balls to that, sod that, I'm just going to go and attack this pike unit. So that's exactly what's going to go on here. You'll see that these infantry units are all just going to cluster up together and charge straight into this pike unit. In the meantime, we've got an onager here, and you can see the onager is shooting their fireballs over here. Oh, and you can see they've done a lot of damage here. They killed quite a few of these guys. Now this cav unit is just kind of parked themselves over here, probably contemplating on what to do. Potentially they might go and go around the side here, which is probably the more sensible thing to do, or they could just go and cluster themselves up on this hill. And that's what the infantry are doing now. As you can see, they're getting stuck here. There's no way they're going to be able to punch a hole through this pike unit unless this onager decides to accidentally shoot themselves. So as you can see here, the onager has now burnt this house down. Let's have a little peek over here to see what's going on. This little house is on fire, unfortunate, and the Gauls are still trying to attack over here, but the Germans are still outside their settlement. They're still on the wrong side of this gateway. They should be over here helping out their allies here, but instead they're stuck on this side. So not the best move, not the most sensible at the end of the day. And you can see the over here the SPQR cav are just kind of hanging out here. Again, there's no real logic for them to be there. Again, I'm not trying to undermine the SPQR player, but I really can't fathom that tactic at the moment. But anyway, let's just carry on here. So the Gauls are still trying to push their way through this unit here, still not having any luck. The cav unit has now come around the side here, as you can see, and this cav unit are now going to try and take on these archers here. Now, as you can notice, the cav unit is winded. The cav unit has got absolutely no upgrades, but these archers have got upgrades, and you can see these archers actually managed to beat these cav units here. And plus, we've got this nice little berserker that's gone off on a berserker mission and has managed to actually rout a bunch of these cav units. So really, really well played there on the German side here. In the meantime, the Carthaginian player is now going to follow suit with his allies here. What he's going to decide to do is abandon his troops in the centre here, and he's going to send more of his cav outside the settlement. So at this stage we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13 units are sitting outside the settlement. And this is the whole fun about siege battles. I've got absolutely no idea the reason why some people bring the builds that they bring. I've got no idea why they sometimes do the tactics that they do. But obviously this made perfect sense at the time, because what they're doing now, they're sending all of their cav outside the battlefield, outside the fence, and they're just going to be running off in this direction. And now there's no units over here to kill. As you can see, there's no hidden Gaul units, there's no hidden Greek units, and there's no other units here. But saying that, it makes no sense. It doesn't matter, because the SPQR and the Carthaginian player are riding off into the sunset. Maybe to try and hill camp. Maybe they want to try and take this high ground, and that might give them an extra morale boost when it comes to the battle later on. Or maybe they just want to try and hide their units. Maybe they think we can't see these units. That could be one of the reasons behind the logic. But for the time being, the Sacred Band are outside. They're doing some drill practice. I don't know. They're running around. But in the meantime, let's go back over here. So the Gauls are still trying to push through. It looks like they might just be able to do it, because it looks like these Germans are now being dwindled down. It's about 29. And I don't think it's from the Gauls killing them. I think it's because there's Onager has actually shot over the fence here and has managed to kill their own units here. So the German player was doing really, really well there. But thanks to the SPQR player, the SPQR players managed to actually kill a bunch of his own allies. And therefore now these Gauls can actually get into the thick of it. So the Gauls are now free to actually continue this route up this hill to try and take this settlement. In the meantime over here, let's have a look at the Greek player. Now the Greek player is now going to push these guys forward. The great thing is now we can see how good this ballista is. We can see the ballista really working its magic at the moment. As you can see, these guys are just killing these guys one at a time, shooting their glorified arrow at this unit. And yeah, you can see these guys are not dropping like flies, they're dropping man by man. It takes best part probably 20 seconds for these guys to reload. And you can see, there we go, they've managed to kill another unit. So really well played there on the SPQR. Again, let's see, it's a great unit to field. And yeah, it's great entertainment watching the ballista working its magic, killing one or two units. Anyway, these guys are pushing forward. What I'm going to do now, I'm now going to move my guys forward here. What I have done, I've managed to push my infantry through all of these urbans, through all of these infantry and Iberian infantry and slingers. So my guys are pushing up here. I'm going to get my guys into a formation, kill these mercenaries, these Libyan spearmen, get them all here clustered together, and then they're going to push forwards to try and take this settlement. So let's put this onto double speed for a few moments whilst I get my guys into formation. In the meantime, what's going on over here? Looks like the Germans are still on the wrong side of the fence. In fact, it looks like the Germans have tried to actually run into these pikes, but unfortunately the Germans have bitten the dust. They haven't been able to get through these pikes, and they have actually lost a lot of men. So these guys are still outside the settlement and are doing their thing. More of these Germans have decided to go outside the battlefield. Again, they're on the outside here. Let's have a look, and we've got this cav unit here. Now this cav unit is, again, they're going outside the battlefield. This is another kind of those hidden tactics, one of those hidden things that maybe I still don't understand, because this general is now actually getting out of there. Maybe London is a lost cause. Maybe it's a case of they're going to preserve these units to the latter end of the battle. But yeah, these guys now running out the settlement. Let's put this onto normal speed to see what else is going on. Where are these Carthaginians? Where have they got to? Where are they? Here we go. Got the Carthaginian cav has now run all around the settlement, and now they're here. So what they're going to try and do is they're going to try and attack my my pikes here. I've dropped down my pikes, and we should be able to kill quite a few of these guys. Although my guys probably won't win this, because although they are upgraded, probably Gaul attack. There's 3 decent sized Sacred Band Cav units trying to kill them. In the meantime, I'm going to get these guys and just push them forwards. As you can see here, pikes are going to be going down, take guard mode off and go and attack and just slowly munch through all of these units here. So let's put this on to double speed for a few moments, and as you can see, my guys are just nicely mowing up these guys here. What's going on with the Gauls? Are the Gauls alive? Are the Gauls dead? Looks like the Gauls have all actually been finished. In fact, they were finished by this Praetorian Cav unit. In the meantime, this other Praetorian Cav unit is just kind of sitting by the defence, just chilling out here. And it's the general unit as well that's actually sitting there. Ideally, that general unit should be over here, supporting his allies, supporting these other units, doing exactly what these other guys here. These guys are fighting, unlike half of the other units, which are just kind of standing around. Anyway, the enemy general is now dead, so that must be the German general is now dead, because the SPQR general is still over there in the background. And again, we're just slowly pushing our way through these guys. We should be able to easily do this because the Spartans have got an absolutely amazing attack, and at the end of the day they're only fighting Primarian units, plus also fighting a couple of chosen archers, which will be absolutely no match for what I've got here. So you can see they're pushing forward, plus I've got my archers which are just raining fire upon these guys here. Again, as you can see, the countdown's about to start here. Hopefully we can push away all of these units here, which you can see there. Onagers should be slowly being killed, man by man, unit by unit. And as they rout, they're probably going to run back into the settlement. And there we go. These guys are now all finished. Are there any other units finished off? Is there any other units left over? I think that's pretty much it now. So what's left to field on the battlefield? Well, we've got a couple of SPQR units in the background there. Now the general is going to make a move. The German player is throwing in the towel, so it's just the SPQR unit at the end of the day. They're going to try and valiantly advance on our guys, but they're not going to be able to do much because at the end of the day, we have got overwhelming units in the centre here. Myself and the OTD member have got this really bottled down, tied down. There shouldn't be any fear against these guys trying to take their settlement back. As you can see, they're going to charge in their Praetorian Cav. These guys are heavily tired. They're going to charge into my guys, but I've got plenty of pikes to support. Again, what else have we got attacking? I think that's pretty much it now. I don't think there's any other units left. Let's put this onto double speed and just finish this replay. So guys, let me know what you thought of this siege battle. I know it's a bit random, it's a bit different compared to what you're normally used to, but I thought I'd try and spice it up. I thought I'd put on a siege battle because siege battles are random. Siege battles never follow the rules. Siege battles are just weird, and the tactics are on par with the weirdness. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. It might be something new to you. And if you were the SPQR player, if you were the German player, please don't take this as an insult if you're watching this. This is purely a bit of fun. And if there was any logic behind your actual tactics, please leave a comment, because I'd love to know what your thought process was, because you never know, there might be an invalid logic reason behind that actual maneuver that you were doing. Either way, there's been absolute carnage in the centre, which I guaranteed. There's been absolute madness when it comes to tactics, which is inevitability when it comes to siege battles, and hopefully there's been a bit of an excitement and a bit of joy there when you're watching this replay. So this should be finishing literally any seconds now. Let's just wait for the scorecards to come up. There we go. All sorted. There we go. So if we have a look at the kill counts, OTD member got a decent amount of kills, nearly 1,600. That's primarily because he killed a bunch of German players, German units. I've gotten a decent 1,500 kills. Then if we have a look at the Gaul player, got about 900 kills, as did the SPQR. And the German player also was in a similar part to that. But unfortunately, the Carthaginian player only gotten about 500 kills. Either way, it was a great battle. I'm really glad I took part in that. It did take a long time to set up, and it did take an even longer time to actually take part in. But guys, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Stay in touch for the next Rome Total War installment. If you're enjoying Rome Total War, check out the rest of my videos because my channel is just inundated with Rome Total War goodness. In the meantime, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll catch you guys soon. All the best, and bye now.